whether there is a possibility of any improvement or not. These are the obvious questions in legal research. Now, for LLM students, especially, research is an opportunity to move beyond what we have learned in your LLB and to explore something meaningful and original. During 2 sessions in this workshop, resource persons are going to focus on various aspects of legal research. But here, I would like to highlight 2 important aspects of legal research. One is academic integrity. See, in the age of artificial intelligence and readily available information on website, every researcher must remember importance of academic integrity. You have to read the books, you have to read the available material. While referring any such material, you must give proper citation. You must acknowledge the sources that you are referring, and you have to avoid plagiarism, because these are the fundamental principles of any legal research writing. Second, you have to develop habit of reading regularly. Read books, law commission reports, judgments, and also contemporary legal developments. The more you read, the better you understand, and the better you understand, the better you can write. Finally, the research is not only about completing assignment, research paper, but it is about developing the ability to think like a researcher and ultimately like a professional lawyer. I am confident that today's workshop definitely guide our student to develop research thinking for research. It will guide to select research topic. It will guide you to conduct meaningful research and how to present findings of the research. I sincerely thank today's resource person, Sagrika Madam and Renuse Madam, for taking their time to share their knowledge and experiences with our student. I also appreciate efforts of my colleagues and coordinator for organizing this program. And I'm hopeful that this workshop achieve great success and all our students meaningful and enriching learning experience. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable remarks. Now I invite Sneha Sawant ma'am to introduce our resource person, Dr. Manisha Sangwegar ma'am.
I'm honored to introduce you, ma'am. So, Dr. Manisha Sangwegar, ma'am, she completed her Master of Laws from Department of Law, Savitribai Phule Pune University, where she secured rank 1 in merit. Madam holds a PhD degree in Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Technology for civilian use, legal issues and challenges. And she also has 15 years industrial experience as Assistant Manager Production, and currently she is working as Assistant Professor at Modern Law College, Pune. She has also authored many research articles in reputed journals. And now I ask Chalwadi sir I request Chalwadi sir to facilitate Manisha Sangwegar ma'am. Oh, yes. I also request you to please participate Sonali and Sina. I now request Manisha Savarkar ma'am to start. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, ma'am, Sneha ma'am, for your kind and warm introduction. So I'm truly honored to be invited in this great institute and you are as a resource person for today's session. So I sincerely appreciate Principal Dr. Nitin Chalwadi sir and Dr. Mayura madam. She invited me personally for this session to interact with the students. And as I said, sir already mentioned about many things actually. So research is very, very essential. I will just say a few words about research. Research किसी को भी करना है ना, so they have to do it. Don't consider that research is limited to only your faculty. It is every region, every area of any surrounding also, the studies also, it involves research. Okay. So I think that many of the LLM students are here and even the undergraduate students are here. So please take this as a task that, as sir said, you have to read वाचल तर वाचल. So that is the thing. So अगर पढ़ोगे तो बचोगे. क्या पढ़ना है? That is important. Now AI is going on in a boom. It is taking place. So please take this as one article. Now I'm taking one session of how to write article. Okay, research article, and it is particularly a legal research article. So my request to all of you is at least read one article a day. Make it a habit. So whatever the things I'm going to explain, you will also have some idea about the research, how to conduct it, how to go ahead with. So let us start with the topic, how to write research article. How many LLM students are here? Okay, can this be an interactive session? Are you ready for this? Okay, don't worry, I'm not going to take any exam as such. So, see, you should have courage to answer. Okay, though it may be wrong, it may be right, whatever it, but at least you know something, put it in front. Okay, so what is the research? So research, how do we define research? Actually, it is a systematic scientific process of investigation. Investigating, collecting, analyzing, interpreting the information, okay? To discover what? The new facts, verify the existing knowledge, okay? Come up with the new solutions, new interpretations, new developments, and also solve a legal problem, okay? So legal research, how can we say legal research? Means a systematic investigation of legal problems by examining the legal authorities, okay? Interpreting the law, the present law, analyzing that those judicial decisions, come up with your critics on it, critical analysis, then identifying the gaps. What are those gaps and uncertainties in the existing legal framework? Okay, so research writing is not merely collecting the data, as sir has already mentioned it. If I ask you, the students, to write one assignment, what would you do? Just answer. क्या करोगे आप? असाइनमेंट दिया है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल चलो साइबर लॉ के लिए दिया, या तो कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन के लिए दिया, या तो एआई के लिए दिया. व्हाट वुड यू डू इफ आई से आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस एंड कॉपीराइट लॉ? So you will gather information, okay? You will take all those books, come up with the ready-made material, put it in a chronological this thing, okay? What is the question given? You will write it. It can be a lengthy process. It is just the collection of material. It is nothing else, right? But what is research then? What is research? So assignment can be a descriptive thing, but research cannot be a descriptive thing only. It could be descriptive sometimes, but here, if I take the example of artificial intelligence, I'm particularly taking this example right now, and the copyright law. So here you will write artificial intelligence kya hai, what is the copyright law, what is copyright exactly, what is copyright, and how the law talks about it, and some other things. So can we have the first slide, second slide? नहीं, research article. पहिली पुढे आधीचे आधी. Research article. Okay. So I just now said what is research article? It is a piece of writing. Research article is a piece of writing which is focusing on what it is focusing on, the research done by the researcher. Okay. We are not going to cover the broader aspect of research. Research talks about the narrower aspect. Narrower means in-depth analysis of that particular topic or that particular area. So here what we are doing, we are coming up with the knowledge, the new theories. Okay. So a research article goes one step further. So what we need to ask, or maybe the article asks, is the existing legal framework adequate? Okay, to address that issue, what we are writing, what the legal problem is, that existing knowledge is adequate. What exactly the problem exists? Problem, legal problem. What is the gap in the law? It is not. It is a research gap or maybe the legal gap as well. Then how the courts are addressing that problem? That could be the thing we need to understand. So for that, what you will do? Collect all the judicial judgments. Go ahead with the judicial reasoning, what is the mentioned in their orders. Okay. So how do the other countries also take up these things? We need to do it, because sometimes we do the research in comparative jurisdictions. Comparative analysis karte. What is the comparative jurisdictions? Maybe the some other country, international laws. Okay. So if I take this, it would be the narrower question what we are coming to and we are answering for it. So now I'm talking about AI and copyright. So if it is possible, what would I do? मला तर ते आर्टिकलचं टायटल द्यायचं. What could be the title then? AI generated work. Okay. So AI generated work and copyright law in India. Okay. This could be one thing, and the main what I'm going to focus in that is rethinking the authorship, the ownership, the originality. Okay. So here what researchers should do, or maybe what is the narrower thing here? Who is the author? Okay. Who owns the copyright? Copyright, what does mean by copyright? Can anyone? कसंही उत्तर द्या, मराठीत द्या, कसंही द्या, चालेल. Anyone? आता मी हे बोलतेय, माझी ही स्लाइड चालू आहे. Marathi is also comfortable, na? My slide is going on there. Okay, I have prepared that slide. Correct? त्या स्लाइड वर तुमचा अधिकार आहे की माझा आहे ना माझा? हा, simple answer आहे. Okay. Now this information I have also collected some from any book or any other material, but I am writing, I am putting in my own way. So I have a copyright on this PPT. Okay, I can share it with my permission only. I can share it with others. But AI, what is AI? हो ना, म्हणजे काय करतं artificial intelligence? What it does exactly? Artificial intelligence is a system. It is a machine language. Maybe the tools are there, modules are there. What we are doing, they are collecting the information, feeding to the models. Maybe some other tools are there. We are giving the prompt and it is giving answer. Okay. For example, मी थोडासा वेळ घेते, maybe Instagram तुम्ही वापरता ना सगळे मुलं. Okay. You're using Instagram. Instagram वर तुम्ही जर पर्टिक्युलर एखादा काहीतरी सर्च केलं, इनिशियल डे कुठल्याही दिवशी बघा, what exactly comes up? It is an algorithm. Correct? The same thing will get repeated throughout the day.
It will not stop. It will be repeated. So even the AI is like that. And who is the author for that AI then? इथे मी author hai. Who is the author for AI? Just think over. I'm asking you the question. You should ask this question. As sir said, you should ask what is law? How does it works in the society? How it operates? This is the question. Okay? So we need to always question how exactly the things are going on. आणि माझी रिक्वेस्ट सगळ्यांसाठी असेल, AI is a good thing, equally it is a bad thing, but you should know it how exactly it operates. Okay, so these are the things. Next slide, please. Okay, what is the significance of a research article then? Writing a research article, how exactly it provides the opportunity to conduct research on a particular topic, in-depth analysis of that particular topic, making people aware of these the laws, the rights in case of the legal research. It updates the older research. Okay, because research, older research la update करते ना. Research, we are searching again. It could be the काय म्हणू आपण constitution आहे किंवा normal तुमचे criminal laws आहेत. People are doing PhD again and again on those things. But how they are doing, that is the important thing. It is they are researching it. So helping the students to understand. The college must be having the law review journal. Do we have, ma'am? Okay. Many colleges, the national law universities, they have the law review journal. Please go and read. Law review journals kya hota hai? Anybody knows? Those are written by the students. Okay? To understand what? To understand what exactly is the present situation of different law subjects. Okay, so they write, the faculties write, the teachers, whoever comes, they can write in that. So basic step in the research for the researcher is to write the research article. Okay, so moving ahead, next. What are the steps? Now keep a track of this thing. Huh? What is the step? First I have written choose area, research area. Research area, then literature review. Approach for the research. Keywords. I'm telling you how exactly the chronology goes. Abstract. Then you need to prepare a skeleton of the research. Contents of the research. It is very, very essential thing because that is the main thing. Your article is going to be like that, which will be published. Analysis, conclusion. So a good law research article should have 5 characteristics. If you ask me how it should be, I'm talking about the problem. So the clarity of the legal problem that has to be clear in article. Then second is the authority. So your arguments, authority means what? You are trying to come up with a new idea, new interpretation, new developments. So there, these arguments which are giving, you are giving, these need to be supported by some evidences. That is more important. Which are those evidences? Legal sources. So for that, database. Legal database, that must be there. No? So legal database, are you guys visiting your website? है ना? कौन से है? Okay. There are n number of databases there. Even you get free subscription of that. University site is there. Even there you have some of the databases. You already know Google Baba पे बहुत कुछ है ना? Google Baba provides what? Google Scholar. Have you visited PubMed? You know it? Huh? Then Indian कुछ तो है. I forgot the name. है ना? ना सबको पता है अभी. So here the originality should be there. The next quality, originality. Okay, originality in the sense what I'm talking about, the argument, the interpretation, or maybe what you're proposing. It needs to be from your side, in your own words. That must be your own analysis. Coherence. See, I told you about the contents of the research article. Okay, starting from the title to the conclusion. Okay. आपण म्हणतो ना असं स्केलेटन म्हणणार आहे मी पुढे, तर ते स्केलेटन सारखं लक्षात ठेवायचं की इट इज अ व्हर्टिकल काय म्हणू आपण लॉजिकल काय म्हणू कनेक्टिव्हिटी स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम टायटल टू कन्क्लुजन आय एम टॉकिंग. So it has to be there. Everything should be in aligned with. You should not go away from that. टायटल मध्ये जे लिहिलं आहे तेच तुमच्या रिसर्च और रिझनिंग क्वेश्चन मध्ये असलं पाहिजे, ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह मध्ये असलं पाहिजे, हायपोथेसिस असेल त्याच्यात असलं पाहिजे, तुमची मेन बॉडी कशाबद्दल बोलतीये त्या टायटल मध्ये ते फाइंडिंग कुठपर्यंत आलं पाहिजे. तर त्या टायटलला रिलेटेड तुम्ही जो प्रॉब्लेम बोललात त्याचा आन्सर देईपर्यंत. आर यू गेटिंग दिस? ओके. सो सिग्निफिकन्स आय ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू. नाउ द सिलेक्टिंग द रिसर्च एरिया. Sorry for my. So choosing the research topic. From where you will choose the topic? Just answer. How would you choose? अगर मैंने बोला किसी को तो yes. Correct. और correct. Okay. Any other? Even it could be your institution starting. Don't do that. Sir will scold me. But what I'm saying, research could be from anywhere. Anywhere in the sense from your house, your neighbor, your society, your institution or your country, anything, any damn thing. You can have some problem. You can see, you can relate. That could be your topic of research. Okay. So it could be social, legal, socio-legal, or area of interest as she answered, and identify the problem in that. There you can find you can identify the problem. What exactly is the practical gap in that? Research gap बोल रहे हो आप, जो research gap है, it is present there. Okay, so the good research topic should have, if I'm selecting any topic, what it should have? It should have the proper legal relevance, social relevance. Current law and society cannot be separated. Correct? No. So social relevance should be there. It should be contemporary one. It should not happen that anybody has written the research article and the same thing you are going to repeat, just twisting the words here and there. No, don't do that. Come up with the new ideas, new interpretation of it. Then that problem, as I said, it should be clear one, the scope of original analysis. Analysis is a very important thing of the research article or maybe the research itself. Because without analysis, you will not find anything. Findings जो बोलते हैं, it depends on that only. Okay, so here I can give many examples. Already I have given you AI वाला दिया है, cyber law का बोल रही हूँ. So here now what is the next step? What exactly is the problem? Next question you need to ask. So let us talk about the AI generated work and copyright में बोल रही हूँ. Okay, research problem क्या हो सकता है इसमें? थोड़ा सा मैंने ऑलरेडी बोला है वो, है ना? This can be a research thing. So existing Indian copyright framework, does it expressly and comprehensively address the legal status of substantial AI generated work? It is no. Correct? And we do not have any AI law also in our country. That's the main thing. So creating uncertainty regarding the authorship, okay, originality, the ownership, everything. So this is the main research problem. These are the problems. So whenever you identify a research problem, you need to ask, why is this problem important? है ना? इसका importance तो मिलना चाहिए. Problem तो समझ में आया, but why it is important? Consider AI use कर रहे हो, तुम खुद कर रहे हो, जो भी है, and you are giving it in your research article, and something goes wrong after your publication. That can be retraction हो सकता है ना article का भी. Why? Because you have taken from AI. हाँ, author हो क्या आप? No, that can be a case later on. So who's the author? Next slide, please. So now here we have completed with what? Our topics choose कर लिया. उसके बाद हमने क्या किया? Problem उसका identify करने की कोशिश की. But now, from where you will do the research? टॉपिक मिल गया, प्रॉब्लम मिल गया, उसके लिए यू शुड हैव समथिंग इन योर हैंड. व्हाट इट कैन बी? लिटरेचर. ठीक है ना? लिटरेचर रिव्यू, द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग. फॉर दैट ओनली आई एम गिविंग यू द आंसर इज लाइक, प्लीज रीड एटलीस्ट वन आर्टिकल अ डे. इट इज गोइंग टू हेल्प यू थ्रू आउट योर जर्नी, your career, because even the articles which are published by you, which are considered as your in the corporate sector also, you're working any firm or maybe some industrial area, because it has got that weightage, that value. So please do it. And don't think कि नहीं रिसर्च आर्टिकल हम कैसे लिखें, नहीं यार, सब कोई हर कोई लिख सकता है, पढ़ो. वन एक्झाम्पल आय कॅन गिव्ह. जर आता ही भिंत आहे, मी म्हणलं नाही मला इथे खुडायचंच आहे, मला तिथे खड्डा करायचाच आहे. पहिला दिवस जाईल, मी एकदा मारीन, दुसऱ्यांदा मारीन, तिसऱ्यांदा मारीन, हळूहळू तुम्हाला ती सवय होईल आणि समथिंग विल क्लिक यू. नाही काही झालं तरी मी तोडणारच. होऊ शकतं ना, साधं एक्झाम्पल दिलं. सो द सेम थिंग, डू इट, मेक इट अ हॅबिट. You will definitely understand what you are understanding and how you have to go ahead with it. Okay, so literature review. So you need to read ample amount of literature. Okay, what is literature review means what? It is a survey. Critical analysis करते हैं जो भी पहले वाले रिसर्चर थे, previously whatever the research is done, whatever the critical analysis they have done, you need to understand it and you need to come up with the new ideas from that analysis. Okay, you need to put it in your own words. There are articles where, or maybe the journal, they have some submission rules. They mention that you need to mention literature review. It is not a compulsory thing you have to mention, but somewhere you might have to give the references, no? What was that literature was important to your topic. So there you need to understand literature review लिखते वक्त और आपको खुद का analysis करना है. You need not copy what that researcher has done and just copy it in your word. Don't paraphrase it. Paraphrase भी करते तो भी वो पकड़े जाते हैं plagiarism में. Okay, so you need to understand what exactly that researcher said, and there you will find कि gap क्या हो रहा है. समझ में आ रहा है? Are you getting me? ठीक है ना? So how it helps? Identify the new ways of interpreting prior research. Interpretation का meaning पता है सबको? I need not explain. So reveal or find what is that missing thing, missing gap in the existing literature. Resolve conflicts among seemingly contradictory previous studies. Conflicts हो सकते हैं ना? We have seen so many school of thoughts. You remember political science से लेके पूरा jurisprudence तक, है ना? How many schools of thought are there? So they have their own ideas, but how exactly it is coming in your research, you need to understand. Okay, so point the way of additional research and locate your own research within that context of the existing literature. So this is the important. कहाँ से लोगे आप? As I already mentioned, online there are number of websites are there, databases are there, books are there, journal articles are there, theses are there, Shodh Ganga, Shodh Sindhu. Okay, these are the free things I'm talking about. I'm not asking you to subscribe anything with money. Okay, so research reports are there, government publications are there. अपना इसका साइट जो रहता है, बिल्स वगैरह जहाँ पे आते हैं, you need to visit those things. You will understand because already they have analyzed so many things in that. Okay, they ask for the public opinion also. So you need to check out those things कि कहाँ पे क्या बोला गया है. So there research gap you will find. So what has not done adequately studied. पहले वाले रिसर्च में जो भी स्कॉलर था उसने उसमें जो भी लिखा है, what is exactly he has not addressed, and you feel कि अभी का जो लीगल प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि सोसाइटी चेंजेस ना. Now we are seeing within 20 years or maybe within 3 years of this span, AI has boomed like anything. So society is changing, everything is changing. So that context may be relevant in today's situation also, and the problem you can address is as per your thoughts. That's the main thing. So try to find out that research gap. So research articles should not merely repeat that what everybody else has already done. So it requires what? Aapka perspective. It is more important thing. So what is the approach? Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, while doing this thing, keep it in the mind that approach of deciding the audience. This is also important because I'm talking about narrowing the thing. In-depth analysis करने वाले हो ना, so narrow down करते वक्त what you need to understand, whether your article is going to be read by general public or the target audience. Keep this in mind. So that will make you easier to write the article in that language or maybe the concept. Okay. So general public, it should be easy to read, simple terminology to be used, because how would they understand what exactly you're writing? Because already ma'am has mentioned my topic of PhD research. It was unmanned aerial vehicle. What is it? Correct, but आपको सबको पता है उसका नाम, common terminology, drone. Okay, so drone technology for civilian use, not military use, and legal issues and challenge. See, the only simple terms are there. I haven't put so much of the critical analysis. ये वो सब किया नहीं था. Why it was done like that? As I said, I'm coming from the industrial background. I'm an engineer basically, so I know how would engineers will read that. Okay, students कैसे पढ़ेंगे, law के है या तो कोई other faculty, how they are going to read. So accordingly my chapters were framed. That is why I'm saying this, because this is the thing that general public है, तो उनको वो term समझाने पड़ेंगे. Now civilian use पूछा बोला है मैंने, even you will not understand what are those civilian uses. Civilian यानी क्या, जनरल नागरिकांसाठी जो नागरी वापर होतोय त्यासाठीचे ड्रोनचे वापर काय आहेत. देयर आर एन नंबर ऑफ सेक्टर्स नाव मी मेन्शन नाही करू शकत. ऍग्रीकल्चर पासून बऱ्याच मुलांना माहित पण असेल हे, बट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से दैट जनरल पब्लिक है तो उसके लिए कौन सा ऑडियंस है, उस हिसाब से आपने रिसर्च का वो अपना क्या बोलूं मैं कॉन्सेप्ट जो बता रहे हो वो अपने उस भाषा में बताना चाहिए, द सिंपल लैंग्वेज. ओके, and where specific terms are coming, you need to explain those. Okay, target audience, but obvious you may focus on the scientific aspect of it. Okay, in case of legal research, legal terms are important. These could be fluent. So next slide please. Skeleton of research. Skeleton of research बनाना पड़ता है, ठीक है ना. Skeleton बोलो, research design बोलो, you need to do it. Okay, when I'm mentioning this, what you have to do, put it on paper. Okay, I'm going to share this slide, don't worry. Everything I'll share, I've already shared with ma'am, so I can share. So put it on paper, how exactly you're going to carry out your research. Okay, put it on paper, because what makes things, to-do list banate har koi. Okay, we have that habit, but also I expect that you should, you need to understand, execute karna hai isko. ओके, और टू डू लिस्ट बनाने के बाद भूल मत जाओ पहले वाला क्या लिखा था, आगे वाला क्या करना है. 30-40 साल बहुत साल है आपके पास, डू इट. तो मैनिफेस्टेशन वगैरह एनीवे फिलोसॉफी आ जाएगा. सो कंटेंट्स ऑफ रिसर्च, नाउ फोकस ऑन दिस. टाइटल इज देयर, ओके, बट ऑब्वियसली उसके बाद क्या आता है, यू मस्ट हैव रेड द आर्टिकल्स. आई एम नॉट शोइंग यू द आर्टिकल हियर. यू मस्ट हैव रेड, योर नेम विल बी देयर. And most of the times I expect students to not to write alone. Please come up with your co-author. ठीक है, it helps you a lot. और co-author कैसा होना चाहिए, जिसके साथ आपका अच्छा बनता हो. There should not be a fight later on. Okay, then write abstract. Abstract is the thing. Okay, I'll take everything in detail now. Keywords, 5 to 7 keywords. Introduction, the main body, then other related information if it is required for your topic, and analysis of all those things, and conclusion. Conclusion में क्या क्या आएगा, recommendations आ सकते हैं, findings बता सकते हो आप, and then you can conclude your research. And later last part is the references or maybe your footnotes. ठीक है. So contents of law research इस हिसाब से जाते हैं. Next slide please. So what is the abstract? It is the brief summary version. It is the brief summary version of your research paper. Okay, there are journals, they ask you about the abstract, submission of abstract first, because they need to understand whatever the theme they have given or maybe the topics of research they have put in their brochures. You need to stick to those things. and they are trying to find out what exactly the idea of your research. And abstract, as I'm saying, it is a summary, so you need to put many things in that. So abstract में क्या क्या आएगा? Identify your purpose, motivation क्या है, what exactly, and abstract should be of around 250 to 300. Basically 250 बोलते हैं, but it depends on where you are going to actually publish or you are submitting your research article. It depends on that. So research problem क्या है? What is the research methodology in it? So briefly summarize your results also. So for that, what you need to do? As I said, skeleton बनाओ जो बोला ना, that skeleton will help you. So you will understand literature review इतना किया है तो हमको उस हिसाब से उसका रिजल्ट भी थोड़ा पता हो जाएगा, है ना? तो वो रिजल्ट लिख सकते हो. And in the last section of your abstract, you will give a statement about the implications and limitations. Implication का मतलब impact वगैरह, है ना? Implications किस हिसाब से, limitation of your research, further scope of research, ठीक है? So keywords, as I already mentioned, why keywords are important? Because whoever is the person is going to search it on the internet. Okay, now it is the internet is the popular thing where we can search everything. So even if you put keywords, now Google Scholar you must have seen, everyone, ठीक है ना? Google Scholar में जाते हो तो you need to write, or maybe any database. Those keywords, अभी artificial intelligence बोला, copyright law बोला मैंने, so even if you put that authorship, AI generated work, there could be some words like this. So if you put, it will give you the results accordingly. You need not go to that महासागर कि तिथनं खोदून काढायचंय. Keywords help you in that. ठीक है? So authorship होगा, originality होगा, intellectual property भी हो सकती है because copyright है ना? So it enables quicker searching for the appropriate terms relating to the research. ठीक है? More useful for the further reference. And keywords can depict the entire article. ठीक है? 5 to 7 words. Then coming to the next slide, that is introduction of your research article. What exactly you are writing in the introduction part. ठीक है? So focus on the why of taking on the research. ठीक है? Questioning ना? Question वही है. Whatever the thing you are doing, why I'm doing this? That's the main question. How you are going to take your research? How exactly you are going to carry out? Summary of your research. It includes the statement of problem. Then you may relate your problem with some theoretical concept. Introduce the type of research. Empirical है या तो doctrinal है, whatever it may be. So introduction में क्या क्या जाएगा? If you want, you can write. Background लिख सकते हैं हम लोग. Research topic का जो background है, you can write it in few lines. Legal problem, as I already mentioned, you need to write it in the introduction. Then, what is the research gap? Okay, I've already mentioned you. Legal research gap हो सकता है या तो maybe research gap भी हो सकता है. Earlier researcher ने जो बोला था, the same thing you are taking in this present contemporary situation and you're finding नहीं वो अगले वाला अभी applicable नहीं है यहाँ पे. So that could be your research gap. Some conflicting nature, ठीक है ना? Judicial decisions है, वहाँ पे भी आप कर सकते हो. Anything you can do. So that research gap which has not been adequately addressed, you need to mention in the introduction. Research questions, ठीक है? Research questions, देखो, now you have already identified the problem. Formulate your research questions accordingly. अगर ये AI का ही मैं पकड़ रही हूँ अभी, AI का पकड़ा है तो what could be the research question? What is the AI generated work? This could be your research question. Accordingly, you need to frame your objective also. Are you getting this? Authorship है, तो उसके लिए who should be recognized as the author? Who can be the author? Author के लिए हम सोच सकते हैं ना कि भाई author कौन है? यहाँ पर हम खुद हैं, AI वाला है, या तो जिसने इनपुट दिया वो है, या जिसको आउटपुट मिला वो है. Anybody can be author, ना? Correct? So who should own the copyright? This could be your question, research question. So objective research question क्या बताता है? It asks what you want to know. Question ये है ना, what do you want to know? AI generated work क्या है? Copyright कैसा होता है? क्या होता है? Author कौन है? Originality क्या है? Whatever. But research objective जो बाद में लिखोगे आप, it explains what you intend to do. So to examine the applicability of your copyright act, AI तो act है नहीं, अगर AI नहीं है तो AI के लिए whatever is the legal framework is there in India presently, or maybe the guidelines, maybe the rules, whatever it may be, you need to make that objective. You need to find out it. ठीक है? To examine the international perspective. Copyright है तो you know international conventions are there, international body is there, WIPO is there. So everything you can go and search it for. So that could be your objective. Coming ahead with hypothesis. What is hypothesis? Tentative statement. ठीक है ना? Favorite word है. तर्क लावतो आपण. तर्क लावल्याने काय फायदा होतो? Correct. ठीक है? You need to assume. Now it is a tentative, testable, because there we have tentative statement. Tentative है तो educated guess जो हमने बोला, that a guess जो भी है वो किस हिसाब से research में आएगा, how it will be completed. Testable because there is a clear relationship between two things. Variables are there. ठीक है ना? तो variables है तो वो variable क्या किस हिसाब से जा रहे हैं, तो वो इफेक्ट कर रहा है या नहीं कर रहा है? Is it effect? Does it have any effect? No है तो null में जाएगा, और अगर इफेक्ट कर रहा है तो वो अल्टरनेटिव में जाएगा. हाइपोथेसिस. ठीक है? I will not go into the legal research study. ठीक है? Possible हो सकता है. Okay? Then if required, you are doing. Now my suggestion is this. Many of the times you might read on the Google also, or maybe any book, that doctrinal study and empirical study. Doctrinal means what? Whatever is there, legal concepts are there, precedents are there. Library बैठ के जो भी study research का होगा, that will be treated as a doctrinal. And non-doctrinal, practical. ठीक है ना? तो doctrinal में क्या होता है? Law क्या बोलता है, किस हिसाब से है? I'm just putting in my research. But practical, how exactly that law is operating in the society? What are the facts? ठीक है ना? Those facts important for my research. That is a non-doctrinal thing. So now it is written that doctrinal के लिए hypothesis मत बनाओ, research question is sufficient. As far as your research article is there, it is okay that you should, if you are doing a doctrinal study, then you can have your research questions. But if it is this thing, क्या बोल रही थी मैं? Non-doctrinal है, empirical study है, you should have hypothesis. Okay, but if you ask me, now it is not like that. Actually, you should have both. This is what is my opinion. Everyone differs from this thing, but this is my opinion. So, इसके लिए what will you do? Next step. Now you have framed a hypothesis. Next is research methodology. Research methodology, how you are going to conduct your research. Okay, ठीक है. How you are going to conduct your research? So methodology यही होगा ना? How exactly I am going to do with this? So the broad, overarching network जो भी है ना, framework है आपका, हाँ? And the rationale explaining why certain tools were chosen. Tools as in, if it is non-doctrinal, there are tools. Now as I said, कि अगर law operate कैसे होता है, facts find करना है, तो हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा? I'll have to ask someone. ठीक है ना? I have to take opinion. It might be an expert, so I need to go there and take his interview. ठीक है? आजकल पॉपुलर बहुत है क्वेश्चनर, गूगल क्वेश्चनर. ठीक है ना? उसके लिए भी बहुत फॉर्मेटेड है, अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड है, whatever it may be. And apart from that, you can do the survey. These are the tools. You need to use those tools also. So doctrinal हो सकता है, non-doctrinal हो सकता है आपका study, and it could be a mixed legal research methodology as well. ठीक है? Now you will ask me, ma'am, where to decide these things? First of all, जब आप ये research questions है, या तो जो मैंने legal problem बोला, जब तक ये समझ में नहीं आएगा ना, methods नहीं समझने वाले. Keep this in mind. Research methodology comes later. What people do, नहीं मुझे doctrinal करना. अरे doctrinal करना है, उसके लिए पहले पढ़ो तो सही, है ना? Doctrinal करना है, लेकिन पढ़ना तो पड़ेगा. How would you decide? वो टॉपिक ही ऐसा है, उसको जाके आपको किसी को पूछना पड़ेगा. You need to go out ना। तो डॉक्ट्रिनल में क्या करेंगे आप, तो अभी इसमें प्राइमरी सोर्सेज आते हैं, सेकेंडरी सोर्सेज आते हैं। प्राइमरी सोर्सेज क्या है? अच्छा एक मिनट, बुक्स नहीं होते। प्राइमरी सोर्सेस में क्या आएगा बेसिकली? एम्पिरिकल स्टडी जो आप करते हो ना बेसिकली, ठीक है, हाँ, स्टैट्यूट्स जो होते हैं वो प्राइमरी होते हैं, ठीक है। बुक्स क्या होते हैं? तो सेकेंडरी आएगा, बिकॉज इट इज रिटन ऑन समथिंग ना, करेक्ट, कीप दिस इन माइंड। तो अभी वो नहीं से पढ़ाऊंगी मैं, तो एम्पिरिकल, यू वांट मी टू टेल और अदरवाइज आई विल एक्सप्लेन, नो प्रॉब्लम। तो यहाँ पे एम्पिरिकल स्टडी करते हो तो केस स्टडीज कर सकते हो, सर्वेज है, ठीक है। यू कैन हैव योर क्वेश्चनर, you can have your interviews, expert interviews, structured or maybe unstructured, depending on the nature of your research area, ठीक है। So अगर आप लोग साइबर क्राइम पे करते हो तो क्या करोगे, किसका इंटरव्यू लोगे जाके? एग्जैक्टली, पुलिस ऑफिसर है ना। साइबर सेल में जो बैठते हैं, शिवाजी नगर वाला जो मेन साइबर सेल है, वहां पे आप जाके क्या करोगे, उनसे बातचीत करोगे, एग्जैक्टली हाउ दीज थिंग्स आर हैपनिंग इन पुणे एटलीस्ट, ठीक है। लॉयर से बात कर सकते हो, एक्ट्स वगैरह आप खुद पढ़ सकते हो, जजेस से भी बात हो सकती है, जहां गवर्नमेंट अथॉरिटीज है उनसे भी बात हो सकती है अलग, और विक्टिम्स मेन क्या हुआ उनके साथ, हाउ एग्जैक्टली दैट साइबर क्राइम हैज टेकन प्लेस, दैट इज द मेन थिंग। सो दिस इज द एम्पिरिकल रिसर्च, ओके। सो डॉक्ट्रिनल रिसर्च, व्हाट इट आस्क्स, व्हाट डज द लॉ से, and non-doctrinal research or maybe the empirical research, how does the law operate in the practice? याद रखना, ये भूलोगे नहीं फिर एम्पिरिकल क्या होता है, डॉक्ट्रिनल क्या होता है, ठीक है। सो सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ रिसर्च, नाउ नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज when you are writing your introduction, significance of research you should know. Research means your research topic, ठीक है। उसके बाद उसका खुद का argument आएगा, the originality what we are talking, whatever the arguments you are having, you can write it in your introduction part. Now next is the main body. Main body already we have discussed. अगर मैंने असाइनमेंट दे दिया तो आप सारा लेकर आओगे भरोगे, ठीक है ना। लेकिन यहाँ पे वैसे नहीं करना है, दैट इज द मेन लार्जेस्ट थिंग। कॉन्सेप्ट्स है, कॉन्सेप्ट्स रहने दो, वॉट एवर द लॉ यू आर रीडिंग, वॉट एवर द जुडिशियल डिसीजंस यू आर रीडिंग, केस लॉज पढ़ रहे हो, हाउ एग्जैक्टली यू आर टेकिंग एंड फॉर योर रिसर्च, ठीक है ना। सो लीगल और या तो सोशल रिसर्च अगर होता है, इट कुड कंटेन द लीगल प्रोविजंस ऑल्सो. You're not expected to write, copy and paste those things. You need to understand one thing. आर्टिकल जो भी लिखते हो आप, उसका प्लेजरिज्म टेस्ट होने वाला है, ठीक है ना. उसके लिए बोलते हैं 10% बिलो the similarity should be there. So for that you need to put all those things in your own words, ठीक है. Even though you're telling the concept, लेकिन the concept as I'm talking कि वहां से चालू होता है, टाइटल से लेके नीचे तक, उस हिसाब से उस कॉन्सेप्ट को भी एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ेगा. दैट इज द मेन बॉडी. सो कंसेप्चुअल थेरोटिकल फ्रेमवर्क रहेगा उसमें. एग्जिस्टिंग लीगल फ्रेमवर्क भी हो सकता है, एज आई ऑलरेडी मेंशन. इंटरनेशनल अगर हो है, कंपैरेटिव कर रहे हो तो इंटरनेशनल आएगा ही आएगा. एंड इफ इट इज एम्पिरिकल, इट इज द डेटा विच इज कलेक्टेड फॉर द रिसर्च पर्पज. Even that you need to mention how exactly it is taken, which data you have taken in, ठीक है ना, वो सब. उसके बाद अदर रिलेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन हो सकती है. तो अदर रिलेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन एज आई एम सेइंग कि जुडिशियल डेवलपमेंट क्या हुआ, लीगल डेवलपमेंट क्या चल रहा है. बिल आया ना, बिल तो डायरेक्टली तो नहीं बोल सकते ना, तो दैट कैन कम इनटू योर अदर रिलेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन पार्ट, ठीक है. ये पैराग्राफ्स है, ठीक है. सो सोशो इकोनॉमिक इम्प्लीकेशंस है, वो इसमें आ सकते हैं. देन एथिकल इश्यूज साइबर के लिए है, या तो एज आई हैव ऑलरेडी मेंशन प्राइवेसी है. समझो, प्राइवेसी के लिए एथिकल इश्यूज आर मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, ठीक है ना. आई हैव ऑलरेडी टेकन द रिसर्च टॉपिक एज ड्रोन टेक्नोलॉजी, बट देयर इज अ मेन थिंग कि प्राइवेसी इन्फ्रिंज होती है. हाउ? बिकॉज एनीवन कैन टेक द ड्रोन्स फ्रॉम हियर, दे कैन कैप्चर एन नंबर ऑफ इमेजेस, दे कैन कैप्चर योर वॉइसेस ऑल्सो. एनीथिंग कैन गो रॉन्ग. That is the infringement of the privacy. So that can come under other related information. ठीक है. So now the most important thing is analysis. Next slide. I hope I'm not going too fast. Okay. So this is the most important thing. Analysis करना है. किसका करना है भाई? What exactly the analysis you are going to do? analysis could be the critical legal analysis. I'm mentioning it clearly. Critical legal analysis. Critical म्हणजे काय? Critic म्हणजे काय? Okay. Opinion, but how? Your own opinion about? Correct. ठीक है ना? तो ये this is the most important thing that critical analysis हो सकता है इसमें. ठीक है? About the law, the interpretation of law, judicial approach, the judicial approach, what is taken by the judiciary about that particular topic. You can have your critics on that. ठीक है? But it mind well that cannot be in any vague language. You need to respect judiciary first of all. ठीक है? जुडिशियल रीजनिंग देना पड़ेगा. तो वो जुडिशियल रीजनिंग उन्होंने जो दिया है उसके ऊपर आप क्रिटिक करोगे तो योर जुडिशियल रीजनिंग ऑल्सो शुड बी इन अ सोबर एंड सिंपल वे. ठीक है? एंड डिस्कस प्रैक्टिकल लीगल चैलेंजेस. Practical legal challenges about your topic. Present your own arguments there. Whatever the data, empirical study है तो whatever the data you have collected, you need to analyze it. ठीक है? Analyze करना means what? कि आप लोग उसको डेटा को लेते हो, पढ़ते हो. पढ़ने के बाद you try to understand what is the opinion of people. Questionnaire है अगर तो उसमें आपने लास्ट में लिखा होता है your maybe your input in this. 2-4 लाइन देते हो. बट वो 2-4 लाइन 100, 150, 250 लोगों ने अगर दिया, हाउ यू गोइंग टू रीड इट? ट्राई टू टेक कि लोगों का ओपिनियन किस हिसाब से जा रहा है, व्हाट इज द परसेंटेज, ऑल दोज थिंग्स एज पर योर टॉपिक, व्हाट यू आर आस्किंग, व्हाट इज द लीगल प्रॉब्लम, यू नीड टू एनालाइज इट, मेक इट इन शॉर्ट फॉर्म. ठीक है? सो दैट इज द थिंग. सो हाउ टू, अगर स्टैट्यूट्स है तो आप कैसे एनालाइज करोगे? व्हाट डज द प्रोविजन मीन्स? ठीक है ना? प्रोविजन क्या बता रहा है? How exactly is enacted? Why it was enacted? ठीक है? How the courts have interpreted it? Because we hear court, Supreme Court का judgment बाद में उसके ऊपर ऐसा आता है, वैसा आता है. Law takes many years to go ahead again, उसका amendment हो जाए. अभी तो देख रहे हैं, सबको पता ही है वो how it goes. But ये अगर enactment हो रहा है, उसका जो अगर judicial precedent कोई आया, how exactly it is interpreted by the court? Interpretation of statute you must be knowing. ठीक है ना? So what is the ambiguity in this? Company law, the best example for this. Company law amendments, always there are certain amendments every year. ठीक है ना? CA लोग पागल हो जाते हैं because tax issues आते हैं, उसमें बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, even income tax for that matter. So technological अगर आप made कोई provision है तो उसका वो inadequacy है क्या उसमें कुछ? अगर गवर्नमेंट ने बोला है, प्रोसीजर्स है, इस हिसाब से आप फाइल करो, ये करो, वो करो, उसमें क्यों एम्बिग्यूटी आती है? प्रैक्टिकली यू नीड टू एनालाइज दैट, रीड द स्टैट्यूट्स रिपीटेडली. ठीक है? केस लॉज उस हिसाब से आप लिख सकते हो. केस स्टडीज हम लोग करते हैं, यू मस्ट बी नोइंग इट, LLM स्टूडेंट्स. ठीक है ना? केस स्टडी करते हैं, यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट एग्जैक्टली द फैक्ट इज, आर्ग्यूमेंट क्या था, उसमें ऑबिटर दिखता है, जो भी है, यू नीड टू एनालाइज इट, पुट इट इन योर ओन वर्ड्स. अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट का हमने देखा, प्राइवेसी का मैं बोल रही हूँ, जस्टिस पुट्टस्वामी का केस जो है, कैसे उसको बार बार है ना? सो एंड वन मोर थिंग, अगर यू आर डूइंग कंपैरेटिव एनालिसिस कंपैरेटिव रिसर्च ऑफ डिफरेंट ज्यूरिसडिक्शंस, इट्स ओके, ज्यूरिसडिक्शंस, तो वो कंपैरेटिव एनालिसिस भी करना चाहिए आप लोगों ने. हाउ टू डू इट? सिंपली टैबुलर फॉर्म में करो, उसके बाद आप उसको एनालाइज करो. इनके पास ये है, हमारे पास ये नहीं है, बट हाउ इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट फॉर अस, व्हाई वी शुड अमेंड दिस इन आवर jurisdiction. ठीक है ना? दैट कैन बी डन एंड आइडेंटिफाई द लीगल गैप, चैलेंजेस इन दैट एंड कम टू योर फाइंडिंग्स. एनालिसिस के बाद द मेन इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज फाइंडिंग. फाइंडिंग्स क्या हो सकती है? हाउ एग्जैक्टली द प्रेजेंट योर रिसर्च हैज एस्टैब्लिश्ड दोज थिंग्स. लीगल आइडेंटिफाई दोज फाइंडिंग्स, आंसर योर रिसर्च क्वेश्चंस, क्योंकि हमने बोला है रिसर्च क्वेश्चंस बनाया, उसके ऑब्जेक्टिव बनाए, उसका क्या आंसर आया आपके सारे वो बीच में जो स्टडी किया आपने उसके बाद. ओके, कनेक्ट द फाइंडिंग्स विद द एग्जिस्टिंग लिटरेचर एंड लीगल फ्रेमवर्क. दैट्स द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. फाइंडिंग्स निकाला लेकिन वो यहाँ कहीं पे भी फिट नहीं होता, व्हाट्स द यूज ऑफ इट? नो, यू कांट डू दैट ना. ठीक है? सो एक्सप्लेन द सिग्निफिकेंस ऑफ योर फाइंडिंग्स and then later on the next part is the conclusion. So conclusion, what it does? देखो conclusion, it wraps around all the whole study of your research article. ठीक है? There you can write the recommendations, as I've already mentioned. Recommendations on what? Now you have come to your findings. You need to recommend if there is any problem, or maybe there are tribunals in the society. In many of the acts, tribunals are written, but most of the times we have seen that same tribunal is used for too many things. Okay, motor vehicle है, ठीक है? तो उस हिसाब से you can, if you are doing any particular research and you feel no, these cases should have the fast track क्या बोलूं मैं answers for this, you need to recommend for the tribunal. Then it might be a direct thing that tribunal establish करो इसके लिए नया वाला, ठीक है ना? हो सकता है, it can happen. Or maybe the legal provision, come ahead with your legal provision. Copyright law बोल रहे हैं हम लोग, AI बोल रहे हैं, तो authorship, originality, इसके लिए अगर आपको बोलना है तो AI के लिए आप recommend कर सकते हो model provisions in the model act you can make. These things can be there, but article में ये नहीं सब बोलते. In that particular provision which you feel that it has the gap, you can have the recommendation on it. ठीक है? So next is that original, that contribution should be your original thing. See, don't consider original यानी अगर even if it is a constitutional research you are carrying, already people have done so much of research on it, and you are coming with your new thing, but your perspective, your approach, your idea, these are the original things, and putting it in your own words, that makes the originality of that particular recommendation or maybe the argument, whatever you are mentioning in your research. Okay? So after conclusion, and you can write the later on the conclusion in 2-3 lines or whatever you expect. Next slide, please. The most important thing, footnotes or references. What do you feel? Footnotes क्या है? LLM student यार बताओ. Footnotes क्या होते हैं? Footnotes. अभी ऐसे बताऊं? See, footnote. My recommendation, initially I'll tell you, my recommendation is for footnotes. Why? Because you read, better you read vertically. Vertically in the sense, यहाँ पे मैंने लिखा है, उसके लिए अगर I am giving a citation, better to read it in the last part of it, जहाँ पे line लगा के नीचे आपने mention किया है. ठीक है? So based on the research type, wherever you are publishing your article, even that journal can tell you that what they want. It is endnote, footnote, references, whatever it is. Okay? You need to follow those things. So footnotes, as I said, these are very easiest thing to track for the reader as it allows the vertical reading. ठीक है ना? So in some cases the requirement explicitly states कि आपको चाहिए या नहीं चाहिए जो भी है. Is there an importance of citations? Why? Already I am taking an example. ठीक है ना? You cannot have others matter or maybe whatever the thing they have written and you are saying that this is mine. No, you can't do that. ठीक है ना? For that, you need to give the credit to the other person who, the earlier research scholar. Whatever he has written, you need to. But is it a thing that you can copy his words? No. Again, it is expected that you need to understand what exactly he has written and how it is fitting in your research, and you need to paraphrase or maybe rephrase in your own words. ठीक है? So citations are very, very important because academic writing के लिए citations ही होते हैं. Citations कैसे, कौन से है law के लिए? Australian Guide to Legal Aid, ठीक है ना? Citation है. Oscola सबको पता है. कहाँ से है वो? Correct. UK, Ireland. ठीक है? और कौन सा है? Famous one? Blue Book from USA. ठीक है? Okay. And India का क्या है? साहब बाहर का पता है और इंडिया का बताओ. What is it? SILC, Standard Indian Legal Citation. ठीक है ना? और क्या है? Indian Law Institute का citation method है. ठीक है? So those methods. अभी citation that can take a long hour lecture again. So please understand how exactly you need to cite those things. So importance of citation I've already mentioned. And coming now, I expect a question from your side. So देखते क्या होता है. But still I'll mention one thing. चैट जीपीटी अगर आप लोग यूज करते हो तो इट इज अ गुड थिंग और नॉट? व्हाई नॉट? व्हाई नॉट? यू नीड टू आंसर बोथ वे. चलो क्वेश्चन आएगा तब बताती हूँ. ठीक है. So research is not only collecting the information or description of the topic. It is what it is. We have already mentioned. We are asking what exactly is the right thing, what exactly the right decision for this. So these are the things. After questioning your topics, you're coming with your finding, you're coming with your ideas. ठीक है. इस हिसाब से you can write your whole article. Please go ahead with reading. Again, request to all. And thank you so much for inviting me for this lecture. I conclude my lecture here. And if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer. Come up with the questions. चलो बताओ, मैं ही पूछती हूँ, चैट जीपीटी यूज करना चाहिए नहीं करना चाहिए? देयर यू आर. ठीक है. चैट जीपीटी अगर आप लोग यूज करते हो, एआई का अगर आप लोग यूज करते हो, तो वो करना ही चाहिए. बिकॉज देर आर n नंबर ऑफ टूल्स, n number of what I can say, the sites are there. People have developed those things, but you need to understand because it is going to be your future. But don't be dependent. Legal के लिए इतना important है. Legal नहीं, any faculty, it is very much important that whatever the thing you are taking from AI, okay, chat GPT for that matter, authenticity check करो, उसको verify करो. And whenever you are mentioning the footnotes, I'm talking about the citations, please go to the original thing. Blogs लिखते हैं लोग, ठीक है, blogs लिखते हैं, newspaper वाले लिखते हैं. You can mention, but just verify those things with the original statutes. जो भी है आपको सबको पता है what is the original source of it. Okay, so AI का use करना भी चाहिए. What? Summarize करो. Take your, अगर उतना इंग्लिश फ्लुएंट नहीं है, you can put those things. उसमें और एक important thing है, prompt कैसे देना है. You must be listening to those things ना. इंस्टाग्राम पे बहुत आता है कि क्लॉड है, ये है, वो है, आ जाओ प्रॉम्प्ट इंजीनियरिंग. वो प्रॉम्प्ट मीन्स व्हाट? अगर ये एआई का ही हम लोग जो बात कर रहे हैं, जो हमने टॉपिक बोला, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, कॉपीराइट लॉ, अगर ये चीजें हैं तो हाउ विल यू गिव द एआई प्रॉम्प्ट टू चैट जीपीटी और एनी अदर? तो वो प्रॉम्प्ट कैसे दोगे आप? उस हिसाब से आपको जो स्टोरी लिखते हो ना, 3 लाइन वगैरह समराइज करते हो, क्वेश्चन ऑल्सो शुड बी अकॉर्डिंगली. आई वॉन्ट टू फाइंड आउट द लीगल गैप in AI, in copyright law, in AI generator, all those things. Like considering that he's a human person, you need to give him the, and he will answer, but verified. Okay? Any other question? No? Achha, at least give me the feedback. Did you get something? Or yeah, please. Okay. So we have submitted. Now, once again, we going to write research article. So what is the difference between the research proposal and article and the research paper? See, now this is the institute. They are asking you to give the proposal. Okay. So what is that proposal you are giving? Now we have considered already the introduction part, or maybe the scientific way how exactly the research should be carried out. मेंशन करो इंट्रोडक्शन, ये मेन बॉडी में क्या आएगा, दोज कैन बी योर चैप्टर्स, बट यू नीड टू गिव योर प्रपोजल. मैं इस टाइटल के ऊपर रिसर्च करने वाली हूँ. ओके, एज आई सेड, टाइटल के बाद आते हैं क्वेश्चंस, लीगल प्रॉब्लम, स्टेटमेंट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम आएगा, उसके बाद आएगा आपका लिटरेचर रिव्यू, उसके बाद आएगा क्वेश्चन, ऑब्जेक्टिव, हाइपोथेसिस, रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी. दैट थिंग शुड बी पुट इट इन अ वे. That is the scientific way of doing research. So that proposal you can make. It could be hardly of 5 pages also. Okay? You need to give it to your institute, or the answer what been asked to you. That is the proposal. और research article क्या बोला है मैंने? Exactly, because मैंने बोला ना main body, other related analysis, it is not there. Analysis करने वाले हो, whatever the analysis you are going to do, what is that research methodology? Doctrinal है, empirical है? It depends on that, na? It is combined, mixed है, whatever it. So you are going to just mention it in your proposal. Article लिखते वक्त मैंने जो बोला वो पूरा होना चाहिए, and after that the important thing is plagiarism test होनी चाहिए उसकी, and then you can submit. ठीक है ना? तो प्रपोजल देते वक्त आप ये लिखो, उस हिसाब से होता है. डेजिटेशन के लिए लिखा होगा प्रपोजल, and accordingly, see again, what is the important thing in this? Now proposals, why they are asking for proposals? Common sense कोई बता सकता है? Or if three guys are doing the same research, what's the point of doing it? So whoever is wins the race, that will be the first person उसका proposal accept हो जाएगा. That is the main thing. ये याद रखना डिसर्टेशन के बाद, इसलिए फास्ट प्रपोजल देना चाहिए, याद रखो. ठीक है, ये दिस इज अपार्ट फ्रॉम द इंटरेस्ट है अपना खुद का कि किस हिसाब से हमको करना है, बट दिस इज हाउ इट शुड बी. रिसर्च करते हो, रिसर्च उसका यूज तो होना चाहिए ना. इट शुड बी यूजफुल टू एवरीवन, द इंस्टीट्यूट और मे बी योरसेल्फ. और थीम भी लिखा है, तो थीम लिखते वक्त व्हाट एग्जैक्टली द इंस्टीट्यूट डज. थीम दिया है कि एआई में लिख सकते हो, कॉपीराइट में लिख सकते हो, साइबर में लिख सकते हो, कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन में लिख सकते हो. दे आर गिविंग यू द थीम्स, इस एरिया में लिखो. लिखते वक्त आपको उसका नैरोर वर्जन लेना है ना, द पर्टिकुलर व्हाट सब टॉपिक, द सब एरिया. इन डेप्थ एनालिसिस ऑफ इट इज रिक्वायर्ड बाय योर रिसर्च. And for the title part which you mentioned, it needs to be very narrow in the aspect that what exactly are the. It can be a lengthier one also. It is not, but it should have the clarity. Exactly, because there also by reading the title also people understand कि what you are going to, what your research is going to be. है ना? इसलिए तो इन लाइन जो स्केलेटन के हिसाब से बोले, मेरे सर से लेके मेरे पाँव तक, मेरा टाइटल से लेके मेरा फुटनोट तक, everything should be in line. And because of that, we frame hypothesis research questions. Analysis में separate heading कर सकते हो. See, this is all depends on your 3000 से 5000 words तक का आपका आर्टिकल होता है. ठीक है, अगर उसके ऊपर जा रहा है तो that will be your research paper. That could be of 30 pages or anything. ठीक है. So accordingly you need to understand. Analysis लिखते हो तो उसको heading देना है, या analysis analytical part में जो आपने अलग heading लिया उसी में आप लिख सकते हो. But data collected जो भी है, that you need to write it in your main body. Go and read the articles today, please, for my sake. Thank you so much. You have any question? No? Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for this insightful session and explaining this journey of idea to publication in very simple language. Now we will proceed towards our next session, which is on systematic literature review. Now I invite Sneha Sawant ma'am to introduce our resource person.
So I'm going to introduce Mrs. Sonali Renusi, Assistant Professor Sonali Renusi. So she completed her BSL LLB from Ismail Sahib Mullah Law College, Satara. Then completed her Masters in 2006 from Department of Law, Savitribai Phule Pune University. And she has also earned certificate courses in Forensic Science and Medical Jurisprudence. She has a vast teaching experience of 20 years. And she has worked with various reputed law colleges in Pune, like ILS Law College, DS Sri Navalmal Firodia Law College, New Law College. And her areas of interest include human rights, constitutional law, and jurisprudence. Over to you.
Thank you, Sneha ma'am, for such a warm introduction. Respected principal, esteemed faculty members, and my dear students. Today, I'm going to talk on the topic systematic literature review. Okay. Now, ma'am has set the tone very correct by telling us that how a research is to be conducted. Right? So now we have an idea कि research कसा करतात. And very beautifully, she has covered the entire journey. So right from the title till the conclusion, the journey is very wonderfully covered. Right? So now it is my responsibility to shoulder another topic and to carry forward the session. Right? So now let me tell you that my topic is a little bit technical one. Okay. So as you can see on the slide, the topic is systematic literature review. Okay. So let us start with the basic first, and then as time advances, we will go into the complexities. Right? So I want to start my lecture with 2 or 3 prepositions, and then I want to go ahead. Okay. Now, there's a very famous quote which says that once we have become lawyers, we remain a student of law for the rest of our life. Right? We all know this statement. Ek baar when we have decided that we are going to do law, we are going to enter into this profession, we have to research and we have to study each and every day. Like ma'am said, please read at least 1 article every day. Right? So research is inevitable. It is unavoidable. You cannot say that I'm not going to do research, because if you say that, your growth will stop then and there itself. Right? The second thing which I want to specify is, which you might have heard, that the problem is not lack of information. We already are drowning in the pool of information. What the problem is that what is researchable and how do you conduct a research for the same. So आपल्याला ते कळलं पाहिजे. We all are blessed with a lot of information. सगळीकडे information available आहे. But what has happened is की आपल्याला नेमका research कसा करायचा, what is researchable, what is not researchable, याचं ज्ञान नसतं. Right? So when ma'am was talking about the components of legal research, she referred to one pointer, and that pointer was literature review. Right? So literature review, if I have to tell in 3 words in Marathi, की तू काय वाचलं? Right? Literature review, usually what does it mean? की काय वाचलं? So now the third premise is, we assume that I ask you to refer or read fundamental rights, especially Article 12 of the Indian Constitution. Right? So when I tell you to read fundamental rights and Article 12, when we start researching, what we notice is that there are more than 500 articles available. Right? Any topic for that matter. कुठला पण topic आपल्याला वाचायचा असेल, so we all know that if we research it on a proper search engine, that we get hundreds and thousands of articles. So now the question comes, what are we going to read? Right? And is it possible that we read all the 500 articles that are available? Right? So एक number एक आहे की 500 चा आकडा आहे. Second आहे यातले नेमके कोणते वाचणार आहे. Exactly how many articles are we going to refer? Number 3 is that we have to segregate, or we have to separate the relevant from the irrelevant ones. Right? So our task is huge. Book material available hai. Nemka, what are we going to read is the concern, and that is why we should know that how do we conduct a literature review. Okay? So to put it simple, literature review means that whatever available material is there, we are going to read it. Okay? So are we just going to read it? So the answer is no, we are not just going to read it. We have to summarize it. We have to find out what has the author said, what is his opinion, what are his thoughts upon the same, what has he missed, what has the author missed, where are the gaps, and I would like to work upon that gap. Is all about your literature review. Okay? So when you are writing your research proposal, you go on mentioning, I read this, I read that, I read this commission report, so and so forth, so on and so forth. So then that is not literature review. Literature review is ki what are your takeaway from the same. Secondly, you should also know ki what area is researchable and I would like to research upon the same. So that is how your literature review should be. Right? Summary. Second, what has the author said? What do you feel is missing, the gap? And on that gap, I would like to work. So that becomes your literature review. Okay. So now literature review and systematic literature review both are different. Okay, so I just gave you a general understanding about what literature review is. But let me tell you that literature reviews are of different types. And out of that many types of literature review, what we are going to refer today is the systematic literature review. Okay. Now, systematic literature review, let me tell you that it is of recent origin. Now people have started knowing about it, and people have started applying it in legal research. But there was a point of time where it was only referred by medical profession, where certain protocols were to be followed. Only at that point of time, the systematic literature review was done. Okay. So now the question comes that what is a systematic literature review and what is a normal literature review? Followed so far? So now we go ahead. So suppose take the same example I said, read fundamental rights. So now our research or searches rather will be biased. Right? Upon Google la janar, for example, or Google Scholar will refer to that, and there you will type something and then you will get many articles. Okay. So now the question comes is that what all and how much are we going to read? Okay. Do we have any protocol to follow? Do we have any system to follow? Bias होईल का मी म्हटलं की usually तुम्ही काय कराल की जे छोटे articles आहेत 5-6 pages चे, you will be downloading them and you will be reading it. कारण we all are always scared of bulky literature or voluminous literature, and that is why our research will be very biased. जे जे छोटे articles आहेत 5-6 पानाचे, only that I'm going to read. Number one. Second thing is that I will be using certain terms. Okay, जसं मॅम म्हटलं की there are keywords that we use. Your keywords also decide your bias. Let me give you an example. Okay? So if you say limitations, restrictions, follow that, which materials are you going to read? So as we progress ahead, I'll tell you how that is to be done. Okay. Next slide, please. So this slide tells us why do we need SLR. So what has there is a rapid growth of academic publications. Many people have started writing, right? And there are enormous publications. Now some people they write out of curiosity, no doubt, because they have this inquiry-based mind and they want to contribute to the pool of research, and म्हणून they write. Whereas there are some people who write articles for the sake of compliance. We should be able to show कि I hold so many number of publications, right? आणि मग मला याचा फायदा होईल प्रमोशन मध्ये whatever, right? So the quality of the research is getting deteriorated. Right? So now the question comes that when you have so much of academic publication, is it possible that you read everything? And then it is difficult to read any and everything. Right? So that is why we adopt a methodology, we adopt a system to read the material, and when you adopt that protocol, you adopt that system, then it is called as the systematic literature review. So as you can see on the last line, SLR systematically synthesizes scattered research. Okay? So as we go ahead, I'll tell you how and what steps are to be followed. Okay? So what is the need of SLR? Resources are many, the material is enormous, and that is why we have to do a focus research. Right? Next slide, please. Okay, so this is a very general or a common definition or meaning of the word SLR. So it is a methodology, systematic methodology, I would say, for collecting, identifying, and critically analyzing the available research. Now, each word is important. It is scientific. So, systematic means what? Scientific. That is, we follow a particular system. We do it in an organized manner. It is not haphazard manner. असं रॅन्डमली काहीतरी आपण नाही करत आहे. सो वी अप्लाय अ सिस्टम. जसं मॅम म्हटलं की राईट फ्रॉम टायटल टिल कन्क्लुजन यू हॅव टू फॉलो अ स्केलेटन. So that is what is meant by systematized किंवा systematic. Right? Next thing is that it is a methodology whereby we are collecting, we are identifying, and we are critically analyzing the available research. मॅमनी माझं काम खूप सोपं केलंय. She has explained all the ABCs of research. Right? So जसं मॅम म्हटलं की आपण नुसतं कलेक्ट नाही करत आहे. We are not just gathering the material. Rather, we have to analyze it. And analysis also includes one thing. What it includes is that we have to critically analyze it. It is not just random analysis. We have to critically analyze it. So we have to take into account the pros, the cons, right? The advantages, the disadvantages, and then we have to do the research. Okay? So its purpose is to synthesize existing knowledge through a transparent and methodologically sound procedure. Now let me tell you that there is a procedure that we follow. So when we go ahead, I'll be telling you three concepts. So the concept is PICO is one. Second is we are going to refer to the prisma, and we also are going to refer to the meta-analysis. So I'll tell you how it is to be done. Okay, next slide, please. So I've already told you the difference. The traditional literature review or narrative is what, and what is the systematic literature review. Next. This also I need not cover. I'll skip this because there are different types of reviews: scoping, systematic, and meta-analysis. Scoping is very broad. So you put your the topic or the area that you have chosen, and you get mapping of a general literature. It is broad. Right? So that is scoping. Systematic is what I'm going to cover right now. And then the third one, meta-analysis, it is with respect to the numbers. It is about the quantifiable, or it is about the quantity wala research. Numbers come into picture. Our concern is neither scoping right now nor meta-analysis. So we'll save time, and we'll go ahead to the systematic. Okay. So there is a process, like I said, if you are saying it is a system, there has to be a process. So we follow the following process. Okay, quickly I'll tell you all the process wale steps. One, define research question. Okay. So now when you are doing your research, framing the right type of research question is very, very necessary. Okay. So now what is that research question? The research question is like ma'am told you when she referred to AI and copyright. She said start with a clear question. And your question and the objectives, they have to match. Right? So research questions have to be clear. Research questions have to be precise. They have to be WH questions. And it is always advisable that do not have more than 3 or 4 research questions. Like I told my LLM students, ki tumhe jasta research questions lita 10. You have to answer all of them. And then when you have to answer 10 questions, खूप अवघड जातं. And that is why limit it. Frame nice questions. Like ma'am said, what is artificial intelligence related something? Or what she said, who's an author? So you should have small, clear, researchable questions. Now in systematic literature review, there are 4 parameters to have a good research question. Okay? So the short form of those 4 parameters is P, I, C, and O. Okay, PICO. Okay, so now let us see what is this PICO. and how it helps us to frame a good research question. Paila, population. P stands for population. That now decide, like ma'am said, कि target audience काय आहे, who are you going to study. So you should know the population. If your work is related to something, some area, say if it is like ma'am said, if it is something related to artificial intelligence, so then you should know that what is your population, from where you are going to get the information. Okay? So P stands for the population. Now I, it stands for intervention. I'll give you a simple example. So I want to conduct a study on juvenile delinquency in India. So the juvenile delinquents, they become my population. Right? So population, the example, I'll repeat it again, that I want to study juvenile delinquency. So now I have restricted, like ma'am said, narrow it down. I have restricted only to the juveniles. So what is the population to be studied? The juvenile delinquents. Okay. Now second is intervention. So intervention is about, I'll give you an example first, whether reformation works. Okay. So far as juveniles are concerned, we all know they are separately tried. The ordinary laws are not applicable to them, and police do not come in contact with them. It is the NGOs and the social workers who come in contact with them, right? So now what is the intervention? Is it better? So intervention here becomes, what policy have you adopted? Okay, mediation ahe, so that becomes a intervention. C is comparison. Okay, so now in comparison, what are we going to do? Ordinary jails and observation homes, which one are better for the juveniles? So we are taking a comparison. Right? So C stands for comparison. P, population. I, intervention. C, the comparison wala part, and O is your outcome. So take all those 4 parameters into account and then frame your research question. Okay? So having a research question and a proper research question is necessary. Next is set your inclusion and exclusion criteria. So second step is very important. What are you going to include? What are you going to exclude? So now be very clear that what are you going to include. So just now ma'am referred to some legal databases. So be very clear. I'll be referring to Google Scholar. I will be referring to SSRN. I'll be referring to LexisNexis. I'll be referring to Westlaw. Right? PubMed, like ma'am said, decide. Right? And always use good sources, authentic sources. Right? Don't use any and everything. Right? So what is to be excluded? What is to be included? Understood? The legal databases that are available. Now you refine my topic or my research questions. I'll be searching on these platforms, which are authentic ones. Now at the same time, kindly exclude also what you are not going to read. Okay, so what is exclusion? So sometimes newspapers, blogs, they are not to be referred. Right? Though we get information from it, but people will usually look with suspicion towards those sources. So exclude. Ki mala he nahi wachayche. I'm not going to refer this. Exclusion. Right? So defining a research question, deciding what are you going to include, deciding what are you going to exclude. Now what is happening? You are delimiting your research, and your job becomes manageable now. You don't have to read 500 articles. 500 madle, now you just have to read 300. You have narrowed it down, applying the inclusion and the exclusion rule. Next, develop a search strategy. Okay. So now this search strategy, like I said, where am I going to research? Where I am going to find out the source. Okay. So it is connected to your inclusion and exclusion. That find or develop a search strategy. Okay. When you refer to good articles, when you refer good sites, when legal databases, automatically your knowledge would be enriched. And the quality or the output that we are going, outcomes that we will get, they will also be very good. Next, screen literature. So now when initially I found 500 articles, now after I reach stage number 5, I find that I just have to read 250 articles. Okay, so you will narrow it down. Screening literature is what? That what you are going to read and how it reduces down. So from 500, the number comes to 300. Okay. Now you have to extract the relevant information. Okay. So now we have a website by the name Prospero. Okay. Capital. You can research it later. Right? Prospero. So Prospero is basically a website, and in that website you register. It is free. Okay. And when you register there, your entire literature review gets registered there. Right? So no, for example, you say I read ma'am 500 articles. Who's going to believe you? Who will trust you? No one is going to trust you. But what you are referring to, Prospero records that. Not only that, Prospero records it, it is open to peer review as well. So other people who are following or pursuing research in the same area, they also get to know about it. They can share their feedback with you. They can ask you, can you read this? You'll get good material here. Right? So Prospero is basically a website which registers your literature review. Next. So extract relevant information. Wahan pe how are you going to search? You are going to search using keywords. Right? So there is a strategy. You use keywords. You use title. Sometimes you can search by putting the abstract. Right? There are n number of ways in which you can do that. Critically appraise studies. Okay. So now critical analysis becomes very necessary. Ma'am has talked about it. Taking into account the paucity of time, I'll skip that. So you know now how to do a critical analysis of the same. Now you have gotten everything before you. By the time you have reached 7th stage, no, we have to synthesize. Right? So what is necessary is literature review search to synthesis. If you've seen your posters, in the poster the topic is from search to synthesis. You have to now synthesize the findings. Okay? So synthesizing the findings is, ma'am has talked about findings, what findings are. Now you have to synthesize them. Okay? So for synthesis, we follow a Prisma approach. It is covered under the slide later. I'll talk about it. Or kindly, can you take us through the Prisma slide? Next. Prisma. Prisma is basically a reporting system. So Prisma, if you can see, it is preferred reporting. It is preferred reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis. So it is a type of an international reporting system. And in the international reporting system, they tell you that how do you write a report. Okay, so there's a flow chart. Yeah. So as you can see here, Prisma is a reporting guideline or a framework, and it is not the SLR itself. Right? So what do you do is, now see, when you register yourself, please do this, go home and you research this. So you'll get flowcharts, you'll get diagram, right? So now what happens is, the Prisma, it basically is a reporting guideline or it is a framework. And then it gives you the entire report. म्हणजे मी Prospero वरती register केलंय, understand what it means. Prospero वरती register केलंय and I'm reading material. Right? So literature review is automatically getting registered. Based on that, I can retrieve the reporting. So when you retrieve the reporting, you get a data. I have read 500 articles. You have read 500 articles. These were the articles. This is the summary. These are the summary. This is the synthesis. So basically the work is very easy. You don't have to do anything manually. Automatically it gets retrieved, right? So then you can search later for a Prisma, a demo or a specimen of Prisma report. Automatically you will get the chart. The chart starts with research design.